What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Talking hoops as usual. Nice little 7-game slate on this Wednesday. JTHayes in, DC's in. Great crew. Before I get to these two, though, I have 2 birthday shout-outs I got to give. One, our man, AP. If you haven't said happy birthday to AP yet, go in Discord, tag him in chat. It's AP's birthday. And I just learned our guy, Jordan. Jordan's always in here. Wisco boy as well. He said it's his birthday as well. So shout out to you, Jordan. Happy birthday to you too. No Big T, no Big T, Caesar. It was a game time decision. We had to go to the bullpen to the closer instead of Big T. But he'll be giving out core plays as usual. DC, throw it to you first, man. What's going on today?
Yeah, not too much. Kind of a busy time. Obviously, we got the DraftKings NBA final coming up here in Denver on Saturday night. I know you guys will both be in town. A bunch of RPS people will be in town. It should be a really fun time on Saturday night. Hopefully, one of the people in it, which is none of us three, but plenty of RPS guys in it, will take it down. Looking forward to seeing you guys and everybody else. And then the RPS party the next weekend after that. And then another week or so until baseball starts up. So, yeah, talking hoops tonight, but a lot going on. And, spring just around the corner, Masters, all that good stuff. So really fun time of year.
Oh, yeah. It's finally starting to get warm here. Sun is out. It's enjoy. Anytime the weather gets nice, you can start feeling it. Excited to see you good boys in Denver. Yeah, we'll be there, but none of us will have a ticket. We're not good enough for that, but plenty of RPS members. Tambo, Jay.
We can enjoy the drinks guilt-free. We don't got anything to do besides cheer people on. It's like it's a stress-free situation where if you got the $50,000 ticket, you're sweating pretty hard.
Yeah, I'd trade for the sweat instead of just the note. But yeah, absolutely. It'll be a great time, no doubt. JTHayes, what's going on, man? How's your Wednesday going?
Going good, man. Happy to be on here. Obviously, we got some shows going to shuffle around people with the traveling coming up here. So definitely happy to jump on here, play NBA pretty much every night. So it's definitely been good. Been a good stretch here. Looks like an interesting slate. I mean, looks like the slate of the OKC Thunder here, which is always fun, right? Can't really trust them much, but it's hard to argue with how shorthanded they are. But they are playing Phoenix in Phoenix, which isn't the easiest matchup, so it should be interesting. Looking forward to Denver. Should be fun. Free drinks and the party, and never been to Denver, so should be fun to check out. And then obviously heading to Big T's the following week. And there's a lot of chirping going on right now in the coordinators chat, so should be fun to see what goes on out there. And I'm sure there are a lot of videos that come of it. So hopefully these people that are running their mouth can stand behind it, but it should be fun.
Yeah, it's always a good time for sure. It definitely will be again. Who do we got in chat? Well, as JTHayes said, we're not really waiting on injury news today. Nurkic, the big news, who's questionable, kind of got all the stuff. Yeah, if you had to say one word to describe the slate, it would be OKC. But, man, I don't know. It's always a little nerve-wracking playing a bunch of OKC. So when we'll get to that spot, we'll talk about it. Going to say hi to some people in chat as always, though, before we break down these 7 games. Brittany's in here. Calvin's in here. Calvin and Sullivan. I haven't seen these names too much. Hope you guys are doing well. Mike Carr, as always. Big Money. Michael Knack. Paraby. Jake's in here. Noel Fan. Dion. Coolin. Marquis. Andrew Martinez. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. All we ask for is like button, big red subscribe button while you're at it. Bill Miner, Bobby, you guys are in here all the time as well. Hope everybody out there is having a great day. I say we jump right into it, though. 7 games. We'll dive in depth like always. First game of the night, the only game at 7 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta Hawks, Washington Wizards, 236.5 total. The Hawks are favored by 3. The Hawks are fully healthy as far as the Wizards. Monty Morris is questionable. DC, I'll start with you in this game. Not too much injury news to worry about in this one. Big total, though. Kuzma, Trae Young, Capella, Porzingis, DeJounte, Beal. There's some studs if you want to play for them. Are you going to anyone, going to any value? What do you see in this first game?
I mean, it's hard to come up with really anything in this game that looks super good from a value perspective, from a projection, point per dollar way to go. Just with both teams, I mean, pretty much fully healthy, about as healthy as teams get this time of year. Obviously, you've got, 3 main guys in Washington that kind of share the ball, share the usage, in Porzingis, Kuzma, and Beal. I don't typically play those guys when all 3 are in. And kind of the same thing with the Hawks. They've got Trae Young, DeJounte Murray. They've got to share the guard duties. And then the rest of their team is healthy as well. We keep seeing John Collins' price plummet, but you just can't play him right now. He's kind of off the table. And, they've even added some guys, Sadiq Bey, Hunter, Bogdanovich for the Hawks. Pretty deep team at the moment. So, yeah, the problem is we're going to talk a lot about, the rest of the games. Like, there's a lot of healthy teams. So you're not just going to be able to attack like we often can this time of year, especially on a pretty big slate like this, right? A lot of times, last couple nights, you're kind of eliminating half the teams and you're down to a reduced player pool. I do think it's a little bit harder to do that today just because there's not that many good options that really stand out. I mean, Nate, we were talking before the show, it's like 4 or 5 of the top projected point per dollar players are on the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have, they make you nervous. They're 14-point dogs. They kind of seems like they're throwing in the towel maybe a little bit. So yeah, it's kind of a hard slate from that perspective. I guess for this game, you don't want to go overboard here, right? I don't think you want to stack this game up. I just don't think there's any way that like Beal, Kuzma, Porzingis all get there. But yeah, I think you can choose, one guy from each side. I think Porzingis is my favorite way to go on Washington. A little bit of a weak interior there from Atlanta. And then I think on the Atlanta side, probably take the discount with DeJounte Murray and hope for a big game. Pretty good matchup for him, I think, against that Washington backcourt. So those would be my 2 favorite, but I do think there's a lot of guys in play for this game. Just hard to really pick any true standouts, at least from where I'm sitting.
Mute rookie. Yeah, I definitely agree. Brendan, he corrected me in chat. Monte Morris is available. I did miss that news. So we're not waiting on any questionable tags in this one. Our boy Tyler on the bedside said Sanders has smashed the Hawks team recently. Zinger. I definitely like that call. I think you could pick any of these studs out, like DC was saying, but none of them are must is how I see it. Nazify, what do you see in this game?
Yeah, I have slightly more interest. Like DC nailed it. This slate's not very cut and dry, right, outside of OKC value. So I think, typically when that happens, right, everyone kind of jumps to the same games, right, and you're playing 2v2 pivots in terms of lineup construction. I actually like DeJounte Murray quite a bit here in this game. It's a good matchup. Trae Young, something seems up with Trae Young right now. Obviously, he can always kind of flip on the switch, but I'm going to take that $1,100 discount in a nice matchup here against Washington. And I like him quite a bit. Okongwu would be kind of a GP, like a 20 max 150. I think he does have some upside here. I know Gary's talking about Capella in chat. Personally, I can't pay $6,300 for Clint Capella. I'm just never been a Capella guy. If you want to play him, sure. I know Gary did the playbook and likes him quite a bit. So sure, you can go to him. On the Washington side, I like Kyle Kuzma the most out of these 3 guys, but I don't know if I get to them. I play 2 lineups tonight, but Kuzma would be my preferred guy here. Checks out pretty good on my side. And it is a pretty good matchup as well for Kuzma against the Hawks here. So mainly the studs here for me. Outside of that, not too much interest.
Yeah, I think it's the studs too on both sides. DeJounte, Trae, Beal, Kuzma, Porzingis, any of them. Probably max 1. If you wanted to go 1, DeJounte, Zinger, Bradley Beal, Trae Young, like 1 on each side and go that way, there's enough value. So don't mind that with a big total. If I had to go pick anyone cheaper, like Denny Avdia, DeAndre Hunter, maybe Clint Capella, something like that. But yeah, this game, 2 relatively healthy teams, and it's tough to find plays you can feel very strongly about when that is the case. But yeah, I like Zinger. I'll go with you, Tyler. I'll say Zinger is my favorite. DeJounte for Nate Defy. Who would you say your one favorite would be if you picked one, DC? DeJounte?
Yeah, it was DeJounte and Porzingis, but Porzingis number 1 for me as well.
I like it. We'll keep it rolling though. The next game at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Portland Trail Blazers, Boston Celtics. 230.5 total. Boston is favored by 10. On the Portland side, Anthony Simons is out, and Jusuf Nurkic is questionable in this one. He has been out for, it's been like 2 months now, something like that, well before the All-Star break. If he plays, just muddy stuff up in the front court. If he's out, Drew Eubanks will continue to start. As far as the Boston side, Robert Williams is out. Peyton Pritchard is questionable in this one. Nathan, I'll go to you. Without Robert Williams, can we get to like an Al Horford? There's Tatum and Brown as spend ups. As far as the Portland side, Dame, obviously, Thibault, Cam Reddish, Jeremy Grant. What do you see in this game between Boston and Portland?
Yeah, so I know it's a 7-game slate. Thibault's been good, but I can't play Thibault. He's definitely a better FanDuel play, in my opinion. I don't play over on FanDuel too much, but with his stocks upside, you can definitely play him. He's been getting ownership, and I'll just gladly fade that. I just don't play Thibault. He's up at a 4K now. Cam Reddish has been really good. It's pretty much Dame and Cam Reddish are the two scorers right now on this team. I think you can go right back to Cam Reddish. Not the greatest matchup here, but the usage is there. And he's playing a lot of minutes, projected over 36 minutes here. I'm seeing, so like him quite a bit at that price tag, because value is pretty weak, and he's right around that mid-tier kind of value-ish price tag there at 4,700. So I don't mind that. Obviously, you can always get to Dame. Dame's a decent spend here, but I like some other spends as well, but it's hard to argue what his upside is, right? It's the Dame show. There's no one else on this team outside of Reddish that is contesting for scoring here. On the other side, Boston needs to start winning. They dropped a couple games here. It's helped their Bucks title, but they do. I expect them to kind of clamp it down here and try and not let the Bucks get away with that 1 seed if it's in their power. So Jason Tatum would be my interest there. I think this is a pretty good spot for Jason Tatum. 10.3 is a pretty solid price tag. I'm seeing right around 20% projected ownership, and I think all these studs on this 7-game slate are all kind of going to take from each other. So don't mind that play too much. Outside of that, I mean, I don't have a ton of interest in Al Horford, Marcus Smart, Derek White, any of those guys. It's pretty much just Dame, Tatum, and Reddish for me in this one.
Yeah, makes sense. Before I get to DC, OMG Father, Torrin Edwards, Matty Ice hopped in here. Hope you guys are having a good day. DC, I mean, man, Dame has been chalk for feels like weeks now and absolutely has performed. Now his price is up, but ownership looks to be very low on this slate. Doesn't look like people are going to him. Are you going to stay on Dame, Tatum, Brown? What do you like in this one?
I do think this is kind of an interesting spot to attack. It's a dangerous spot for Portland, right? They're going on the road here to face a really good Boston team who's really good defensively. You know, I get all the reasons why Dame is going to be low and why people are going to fade Portland. And I think kind of this game in general, I don't think this game will get all that much ownership. But, you know, Nate's talked about Boston probably still trying to win this game. And Portland needs wins too. I mean, they're still fighting for the playoff spot. And you saw in that last game against Detroit, Portland played an 8-man rotation. Now they may get Nurkic back in this game, but I think if they do, they'll just remove Watford from the rotation and just keep going with the, you know, they really only playing 6 guys at the 1 through 4 spots. So like in that Detroit game, I mean, Dame played 38 minutes, Grant played 40, Reddish played 40, Thibault played 38. Like you're not really going to get much bigger, more consistent minutes than that. They haven't added anyone new back to the rotation. It's just, you know, Shaedon Sharpe and Nasir Little that are backing up those 4 guys. And they don't really seem to want to play either Sharpe or Little all that much. So this could be a spot where, you know, if you think the Blazers can keep this close, it does have a decent 231 total. You're probably going to get huge minutes from those guys. And they're all, you know, I mean, Dame's obviously expensive. Jeremy Grant's expensive, but Grant's been awesome. Dame's been awesome. And, you know, obviously you kind of question Thibault's defense, but with Tatum and Jaylen Brown out there, I mean, Thibault's probably playing 40 minutes in this game if it stays close. I think you can say the same thing about Cam Reddish, who was putting 35 points up, you know, kind of game after game right now. So I kind of like a little mini Portland stack here. Hope the game stays close. And then you got studs on Boston to bring it back with, because I don't think Portland's going to slow down Boston, right? I think if this game does stay close, if you get the full run from each guys, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game that gets there in the end. So, yeah, I do have interest here, and I actually kind of like playing the Portland guys together because there's obviously risk, I think pretty big risk that they just get blown out, but it's the NBA. You know, you predict blowouts and you're going to be wrong all the time. So yeah, who knows? They could easily keep this game close. And if they do, I think you'll get big minutes from all those guys. Wouldn't be shocked to see several Blazers guys get there in the end. So I do think this is a contrarian way to build on a kind of a tough slate tonight.
Yeah, no, I like the call. If you head over to the flow chart, a premium piece of content that we do have, multiple guys in this game on both sides are on the flow chart. People in chat are talking Boston ISO defense hasn't been good. We know picking on Portland is fun as well. So yeah, this could be a sneaky game. We do have value in other spots. If you want to go a Dame Tatum, you can fit it on this slate. Definitely would be contrarian. Someone in chat said Muscala if he starts. Yeah, if he starts, you definitely can. I don't think he starts. I think Horford will start at the 5, Tatum at the 4. Because if you look what Portland's going to start, it's either Nurkic or Eubanks at the 5, and then they'll go Jeremy Grant at the 4. So Portland goes smaller. They're not going to need to go Muscala, Al Horford, and play big like that. So I would be surprised if Muscala did start. But yeah, if he starts, of course you could go to him for some value. We'll keep it rolling, though. All we ask for is a like button, big red subscribe button while you're at it. I'm not going to set a number yet. We just appreciate if you do hit it. Want to get you the plays of the day today. Keeping it rolling, though. Another game at 7:30. The Dallas Mavericks, New Orleans Pelicans, 234.5 total. Dallas is favored by 2. JaVale McGee, Maxi Kleba out, and Reggie Bullock is doubtful. He got hurt yesterday for the Dallas Mavericks. As far as the Pelicans, Larry Nance is out. Jose Alvarado's out. Zion is still out as well. DC, I'll go to you in this one. First of all, do you have – I haven't even looked. I'll probably look if you don't know the answer. But, man, Zion's been out forever in this one. This is going to be a big-time game. Pelicans, Dallas, 2 teams fighting for spots. Would be a lot of fun if Zion's in. Do you know a timetable for him as return? And then in this game, just on this DFS slate, Ingram, McCollum, Luka, do you see yourself getting anyone?
Yeah, they say Zion's making progress. We'll see how long he's back out there when he finally comes back. That series of a hamstring injury is a tough one to come back from. So, yeah, don't have the highest hope for Zion and the Pelicans this season. But, yeah, hopefully he makes it back and they can, be another threat in already a really fun Western Conference playoffs that I think wide open playoffs that I think is shaping up. This game in general, I think is a little bit tough. I don't like it as much as the last one. I mean, there are guys like I think Valanciunas here, 6,900. I think he's got big upside against that weak Dallas interior. But I do worry about his ability to, kind of get hunted on pick and rolls from Kyrie and Luka and kind of be played off the court a little bit. That stuff's hard to predict. But, yeah, I think Valanciunas is kind of a boom or bust play to me. Dallas, I mean, I'm always going to if I'm playing either, I'm playing like one or the other of Kyrie or Luka, at their price tags. Just not going to find me playing both guys very often. Just so hard for them both to get there. You need overtime, something like that most of the time for them both to kind of smash their prices. I'll probably, mostly take the discount right now while there's that, $2,400 difference between the two. I don't think the projection is as far off as the price would indicate. So give me Kyrie over Luka if I'm going there at all. But I do think I prefer Dame over both. And then, Pelicans, kind of a similar story. I think you could play either McCollum or Ingram. I think I prefer Ingram in this one. But, yeah, I think either guy's fine. Like Valanciunas a little bit. Don't see a ton here value-wise that I love, though.
Yeah, the one value guy I like, Tim Hardaway. He's now without Reggie Bullock. He's going to have to play more minutes, played 32 yesterday. He's going to chuck a lot, 4.6K. He might not even start. I wouldn't be surprised if they run a Justin Holiday they need defense. That's the one thing they lack. They have Luka, they have Kyrie. They lack on defense. Tim Hardaway coming off the bench, staggering minutes, I think would be the smart way. But even if he comes off the bench, I like Tim Hardaway in this spot. And then the Zion, I looked it up. I guess he's not even close. He had a pretty major setback in February, so my guess is we probably don't even see him this year, unfortunately. Nate Zafai, what do you see in this game? Luka, Kyrie, Ingram, what do you like?
I'm kind of in lockstep here with DC. I do think you can take a shot on Christian Wood. I think him and Powell are going to split the center minutes here. I prefer Christian Wood just for the upside. Powell doesn't have a ton of upside. Christian Wood's a way higher fantasy point per minute producer, right around 1.3 when he does get the minutes. I have him projected right around 24 minutes. I think he can definitely pay off that price tag. But the question is you have Jokic on the slate, you have good centers, and he does take up one of those center spots. But I still do like him quite a bit there at 4,900. I think that's a fine play in a pretty solid matchup here against New Orleans. I like Luka and Kyrie. The discount is nice on Kyrie. I've been a Luka guy. I've been playing Luka as of late too, so I'd probably continue to play Luka. I haven't been on Kyrie, but I don't think you can go wrong with either of those. I definitely wouldn't play them together. Like DC said, they just eat into each other too much, I think. And at those price tags, it's hard for almost 20K of your salary, over 20K of your salary to pay off in the same game when they're eating from each other. In terms of New Orleans, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, you can certainly make a case to play either of them. I don't know if I get to Ingram at that price tag. He has shown upside as of late, so I think I might just take the discount there if I'm playing them and go CJ McCollum. They do have similar upside there. I know Big T always makes fun of Brandon Ingram, has no ceiling, and he absolutely shattered him the last couple of times, so that's always fun. But outside of that, not a ton of interest. I think you can play the big dogs here, and for value, I do like Christian Wood a decent bit.
DC, touch a little more on Christian Wood for me, because he's projected. Someone asked about like 20%. Man, they just do not like him. And I mean, it makes sense when you watch him play. He's one of the laziest dudes out there, doesn't play defense. He really doesn't even look like he cares. But man, they need some offense in this spot. 20 minutes, 21, 14, 18, 20, 22. The last 4 games hasn't scored above 22. I mean, talk to me a little bit. If he's 20% at just center, is he still fine?
When I've watched the Mavericks recently, man, he looks like he's going through the motions out there a little bit. Like I just have a hard time clicking that button, kind of similar to like a John Collins, where it's like, yeah, the price really stands out, but the minutes and then especially the production just aren't there. Like Christian Wood in the past, he was a guy that could get there on short minutes even, but that hasn't been true because one of Kyrie or Luka's obviously always on the court. Yeah, I get the Christian Wood play, and I do think he's still capable of popping off for 35, 40 fantasy points, but yeah, just an uninspiring click for me right now. So I doubt I end up there.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows what kind of slate we're looking at, though. I mean, we don't really have questionable tags. Talking OKC, I mean, 4.9 is definitely intriguing. I was so rattled years ago when the Bucks let him go. I mean, you could tell he has all the talent in the world, but I guess they saw something. I mean, he definitely would not fit on this Bucks team, and he's just been bouncing around from team to team. It like you said, it doesn't look like he's trying out there. Pretty frustrating. Definitely has all the talent in the world, though. We'll keep it rolling, though. 7 games on this slate. Another game at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A lot of games at 7:30. Cleveland Cavaliers, Miami Heat, 215 total. The Cavs are favored by 2. Cavs are completely healthy, and as far as Miami, Kyle Lowry is out. That is the only piece of news there. So Gabe Vincent should continue to start. Nadefy, I mean, I don't really see much in this one, man. Pretty low total, 215, 2 relatively healthy teams. Talk to me if you see something else.
No, I'm right there with you. I think we were looking for games to cross off, and for me, I think this is a cross off here. You can play a guy like Donovan Mitchell, Jimmy Butler. They always have upside, but I don't think I get to them on this slate here. So pretty easy game for me just to kind of go past, and I think it's going to be a better basketball game than it is a DFS game. So typically I will pass on that and put my chips somewhere else.
DC?
Really got nothing in this one. Kevin Love, revenge game, assuming he's in there against his former team.
Yep.
But, his production's been kind of modest with Miami anyway. I don't think they're going to spike his minutes if they don't have to, which they certainly don't in this game, being pretty much fully healthy. So, yeah, it would be a stretch for me to recommend anyone here, so I won't do it.
Yeah, well, we're flying through this one, but hey, if anyone got a couple questions in chat, drop them in. We can get to some of these. The OKC side we'll definitely spend a lot of time on, but we're not going to tell you something if we don't believe. People are talking Wood if he got 35 minutes, 20 and 10 player. Then there's never been a doubt on his offensive skill set for sure, but you're giving up a lot on the defensive end if you're playing them 35 minutes, that's for sure. And Dallas doesn't need that. You have Kyrie and Luka. You only got one ball to go around, but we'll keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, Chicago Bulls, Denver Nuggets, 225 half total. Denver is favored by 9. On the Chicago side, they are healthy as well. As far as the Denver side, Conchar is questionable. It's the only news there. So again, 2 pretty healthy teams in this one. DC, I'll go to you. Is it a Jokic night? Jamal Murray, Vooch, I don't know, Caruso, Bruce Brown. Talk to me in this one. Again, I don't see too much ownership flowing to this game.
I'm trying to fill up the hour, but these games are making it tough to do so. We need some big news to come down. One of these stars to sit or something.
One of the weirder slates we've had, no doubt about it.
Especially
I'm saying Caruso, Bruce Brown's name.
Yeah, especially this time of year, it's kind of crazy. Do we know what ownership's going to look like for the studs, like Dame versus Tatum versus Joker? I assume Joker.
I think it would be out of those 3. I would say it would go Tatum, Jokic, Dame. I really don't think a lot of people get to Dame tonight.
I'm seeing Tatum, Luka, and then kind of everyone else. Jokic, Dame.
I think Tatum's the highest own.
Yeah, I think people will see, kind of a relatively modest total here for Denver at home and maybe go away from Joker. But I bring it up on these shows all the time, man. I love playing Joker when he's at home. He's just completely unstoppable when he's at home, averaging 10 fantasy points more per game at home than he is on the road. I don't love playing centers against Chicago typically, but I really don't care who Denver is going up against for Joker when he is here in Denver. Just is an absolute machine. So, yeah, I think it's close between Dame and Joker. I actually like both guys a little bit more than Luka tonight, so I'll probably end up on one of those guys for my studs. We'll get to the OKC game. Plenty of value to get to at least one stud. I think you can pretty reasonably make a 2-stud build if you really want to, which I might go that way tonight. We'll see. But yeah, Joker for Denver. I think he's an awesome play as always. Could definitely go in that direction. Probably gonna skip out on Jamal Murray tonight, but man, he's been on fire too. 4 good games in a row. A little worried about the matchup. Beverly and Caruso is a pretty tough pair to have to go up against all game long, but still, Jamal could get it done. I'll just go in a different direction myself. Probably Joker or bust, honestly, for me on Denver. You mentioned Bruce Brown, 3,800. Yeah, I think that's obviously a totally fine play. Probably going to give you around 20 fantasy points on this slate at that price point. That could potentially be enough. So I like that call a little bit. Chicago side, man, I don't really see anything that I want to play. I mean, DeRozan, I guess you could go to here, but I don't see a lot. So yeah, I'm pretty much on Joker, and then maybe the Denver value pieces. KCP 3,900. I think you could go to him too, but nothing outside of Joker that I'm super excited about in this one.
Yeah, I see it the same way. I mean, 2 relatively healthy teams. We talked all year. Like when Chicago has all their main guys, it's tough to click any of them. People asking, could it be a 3-stud night? I think 3 studs, if we're talking like over 10K, I think that's getting a little tough today. 2 studs, though, I think mainly people are going to go like 1 stud, a couple guys in the 7, the 8, the 9K range. If you go 2 studs above 10K today, I think you're kind of getting different that way. 3 studs, I'm not sure there's enough value right now to do. I mean, you're playing Bruce Brown, KCP, OKC guys. Not sure the 3 studs are worth it on this one. But Nate, do you have any thoughts on that? And then break down this one for us.
Yeah. So I think the common build is going to be 1 stud and like 2 of those guys in like the Bradley Beal, Josh Giddey range. I'm seeing Josh Giddey hit almost every one of my teams that I run in SaberSim. I'll talk on him when we get to that game. But that's going to be the common. I do think the 2 stud route is definitely might be my preferred route right now. Obviously, it's 4:15 right now or 5:15 Eastern. So we'll see what happens in terms of if we do get any news or how things shake up as I dive deeper into this. But 3 studs, I think, is just too thin. You're going to be playing probably 4 or 5 OKC, which doesn't typically end very well when you're talking OKC value. So and you'll probably have like Thibault or one of those guys in there too. So I just would much rather prefer the 2-stud build because I do see the most common build is kind of 1 stud and then 2 of those mid-tier guys like a Bradley Beal, Brandon Ingram, or like a Beal, Josh Giddey type of build. So that's where I'm at. But in terms of this game, yeah, I love Jokic here. He had a down game last game, kind of burned some people a little bit. So I love going right back to him. His numbers at home are significantly higher. DC talks about it all the time. He's been basically a walking triple-double when they've been playing at home in Denver. The matchup is fine. I think Jokic is kind of matchup proof in general here. He's not your typical big, your typical center. Kind of does it all. So I like him quite a bit. As he's probably my favorite stud on the slate. In terms of Chicago, I just never really play these Chicago guys when the big three in DeRozan, Levine, and Vooch are all in there. So they're a pretty easy cross-off spot. One guy to call out, KCP is projected for pretty high ownership here on the slate, and that just shows you that we don't have value. Him at 3,900, he's projected between like 20 and 25% ownership. He's going to play 32 to 34, 35 minutes. He just does nothing with those minutes. So I'm probably not going to play him. That's one call out I would avoid if you're looking at him. And he does fit your team. He's just got so many guys to compete with Yoke. Jamal Murray's playing good. He's got Aaron Gordon, who's been playing solid. Michael Porter. So he's just got so many usage guys around him that it's tough for him to get his. And then Alex Caruso, I guess, is a decent value at 3,400, going to play mid-20s to high 20s minutes at 3,400. I think he could do worse as well, and that might be a good pivot off of some of these OKC guys that are equally priced there. So that's my interest here.
Yeah, I like it. What do we got? Someone brought up a question in chat. What is your guys' idea stack ratio for DFS? In NBA DFS, you definitely don't need to stack anything. I mean, if you want to like game stack something, I think the best one would be Washington, Atlanta to start, but there's so many studs in that. We didn't love the value. It's hard to game stack it. Yeah, it's not like NFL where you play your quarterback, you get 2 pass catchers, run it back on the other side, or in hockey. Nate Spy is one of our hockey guys over here. You stack a line, you stack a power play, you can get 2 assists, you can get a goal. In baseball, stack teams, runner gets a double, dude drives them in to get the RBI, the runs. It's multiple things that can happen where your multiple people get points on the same outcome. In NBA, yeah, you can get assists and points, but there's so many of those that go around. Really no need to stack it like that. I had another one since we've had so much time. Let me pull it up. Butho Jenkins, pizza or tacos? I already know DC's answering this one very clearly. Nate Zafai, what's your answer in this?
Pizza for me. I love pizza. I'm Wisconsin up here. Cheese, pizza. You got to go with the pizza up here.
3 for 3, pretty clearly pizza there. Don't even have to ask DC. Actually, DC, I'll ask you, what's your favorite kind of pizza?
Oh man, I like the. I know people are a lot. Pineapple on pizza is a thing people don't like, but I like pineapple, Canadian bacon, and jalapenos.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, get some spice in there. A little different, but listen, I am of the opinion that all pizza is good pizza. Like even the worst pizza is still good. Like, you give me like a Red Baron fresh out of the oven. Hey, I'm not going to complain. But yeah, love pizza. Hey, I'm not complaining about tacos either. I'll take tacos anytime, but it's hard to compete with the king.
I agree. Holden, first, he goes, hi, Tile, first time, long time. What's your go-to munchie? Man, that's a tough one because I try to be a little healthier when I'm munching. Like popcorn's pretty healthy if that's in there. I try to have good kind of healthy food in the cabinet. So probably lately it's been popcorn since it's been there and you can down the whole thing. You don't feel too gross. But I mean, if Oreos are in there, if anything's in there, anything will go down the tube like that. DC, I got to throw that one to you too. What's your go-to?
I like cashews and pistachios is one that I try to get. You get that good salt, but you also get some nutrients at least in it. But I really do have quite a sweet tooth. So like gummy bears. Oh man.
Okay. That's your weakness. He said, "Oh man."
It's a way. Once I start eating them, it's like okay, this bag is in danger.
Everything's in danger when you got the munchies.
Yeah.
White cheddar popcorn is very healthy. It's amazing. I didn't know it was very healthy. I try and stick to a little healthier. Rice cakes and almond butter. That's a good one, Jordan. My girlfriend definitely likes that as well. We'll keep it rolling, though. We had some time to kill. A couple other questions you guys want to drop in. Always fun. Good question, Holden. Good question, Butthole Jenkins. Keeping it rolling, though. 2 games left on this slate. Oklahoma City Thunder, Phoenix Suns, 233.5 total. Phoenix is favored by 13.5. Nothing on the Phoenix side as far as OKC, why we're talking about them. SGA isn't playing. The good Jalen Williams isn't playing. Kenrich Williams is also out for the year. Man, DC, I'll start with you on this one. OKC, Isaiah Joe, the other Jalen Williams, Josh Giddey, Aaron Wiggins, Trey Mann, Lou Dort. All of them, I think, are in play today. Thing is, like, Josh Giddey's popping up so much, but, man, I'm nervous if he's going to get a full amount of minutes. Like, they don't want to win. They don't want to win. So, man, chalk Josh Giddey on this slate. Talk to me what you're doing there. As far as Phoenix, D-Book at 9.5, KD at 9.8, CP3 7.4, 8 and 7.4. Probably would be one of Booker or KD if I go there, but another team so healthy. I mean, flip a coin each night. This team's so dangerous in every way. So what do you see in this one?
Yeah, I mean, OKC has actually won 3 in a row. They beat Golden State last night. They ruled out SGA for this game prior to last night, right? And then they kind of let the Thunder, you're at home and you're beating the Warriors fully healthy or close to it outside of Wiggins, fully healthy Warriors team. You got to kind of let your guys go, right? And give them a chance to beat the Warriors. But now SGA out, 38 minutes for Giddey last night. We've seen a couple games recently where it looked like Giddey should be in line for some big minutes and just didn't get them, right? I think actually against Phoenix back on the 24th might have been one of them where,
you got 24.48, and that was with Jalen Williams still was in as well.
Yeah. So I'm with you, Tyler. I'm nervous about Josh Giddey. If people weren't on Giddey, right, if everybody was nervous about Josh Giddey, I would play him here because I do think he's got a huge amount of upside. They're really, really low on playmaking, obviously, missing both SGA and Jalen Williams. I mean, like Trey Mann, one of the guys that presumably is going to have to come in for some pretty big minutes here. He got a DNP CD yesterday, right? Like, I mean, they don't really like to play him much. I think he's better than the amount they play him, but I think he's interesting at 3K. Isaiah Joe, again, another guy that's kind of a guard by trade, but he's pretty much just a shooter. So for OKC to really have any chance against what I think is kind of a little bit of a juggernaut Suns team right now, Giddey's going to have to do a ton. I mean, 17 assists last night. He's going to have a game like that again. If you told me OKC, keeps this game within 5 or wins this game, it's got to be a big Josh Giddey game. So, and he's only 7,600. He can match, I think, some of the studs on this slate if things all go his way. If he gets the minutes, if he's playing well, if the team's playing okay. So there's no, like, in terms of, I don't know, 90th percentile outcome, point per dollar, I do think Josh Giddey is probably the best play from that metric. But I also think there's a pretty good chance he busts here. I think the chance of minutes might be there. Matchup is brutal, right? I mean, this Phoenix team is really, really good. This could go south for OKC in a hurry. I mean, Phoenix has what? I mean, potentially 3 like Hall of Famers on their team versus this OKC Thunder team, which it's rough. I mean, I think they're without their 2 best players tonight. So I'm nervous for them. I think one thing you got to ask yourself, if you're fading Josh Giddey, who gets the minutes, right? Who's out there kind of running the point, getting some fantasy points? I think it's Trey Mann who kind of picks up that slack. Like, he makes me nervous too, but at least he's 3K, right? So he can't hurt you quite as bad. I think he has to play, 15, 20 plus minutes. I think he's got upside for a lot more. He's not a terrible point per minute guy. So I do like him at 3K. You can play Joe, of course. Lou Dort, though, another one that does make me nervous for sure. I kind of think you should play Dort and Giddey together and hope that this team can kind of play well and that they're not going to get their minutes cut, because I do think it would make sense, right? You either run them both out there and let them go, or you kind of make them both take a seat and punt the game to some extent. So I do think those two are tied together. Like Aaron Wiggins, yeah, fine play at 3,500, but he's not in general a very exciting option. And then they do have enough big men. I think they have at least 10 available bodies for this game. And frankly, I expect all 10 to get in there for a decent amount of minutes. I think it's going to be one of those where you see the second unit come in and play like 10, 12 minutes in a row together while the starters just sit there, and you're getting frustrated that, guys like Giddey and Joe, maybe the bad Jalen Williams, who will probably start here, aren't in there. So, they've got Jalen Williams, Saric, Sarr, Robinson, Earl, Dieng at the 4 and the 5. It's just, I know all the values kind of screaming for OKC, but all these guys make me nervous. And I don't, one of the reasons sometimes you get the value for a team like this and you just feel good. Like these guys are all going to smash. It's just a matter of kind of picking the right 3 to 4. Man, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw quite a few snowflakes from popular OKC guys tonight.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm counting 12 bodies, and like Lindy Waters could come in and play 22 minutes today, and I wouldn't be surprised one bit. Trey Mann goes DMP, but he could easily play 25. There's so much uncertainty here, and it doesn't help when Phoenix is favored by 13.5. You're on the road. They can jump out by 30 at the end of the first half, and you're telling me Giddey's going to play?
It's a huge letdown spot anyway. You just won against the Warriors at home. Now you got to go on the road to Phoenix, and your star player's sitting out. So it's like hard to imagine the rest of these guys are going to put up a true fight here. I just don't see it. I think we've had a couple of these games titled when we're on the show together in the past where I was like just really nervous about a team, and they did end up just getting totally blown out. This feels like it could be one of those.
Yeah, Andrew Martinez says Dario Saric, Trey Mann. You can play Dario Saric. In the last 4 games, though, he hasn't played over 17 minutes. Trey Mann, how would he not get minutes? But his last 2 games, yesterday, he didn't touch a core. Game before, they were more healthy. Thoughts on fading all of OKC? That's when your lineup's like an Alex Caruso, KCP, Bruce Brown. Like, man, I don't know. I think going 0 OKC is tough. People are going to play 4 OKC. There's no doubt about that. So if you even play 1, 2, you're different that way. What are your thoughts on that, Nate? If I play no OKC, then I'm going to go back to DC. You break down this game. I'm going to have DC rank his favorites. I'll have you rank them as well because people are going to ask about that. But thoughts on no OKC and then break down this one for us.
Yeah, I think no OKC is a little bit thin here. If we had better value on the slate, I could see it because I do think they get their doors blown off them here. But even that last game, right? We just saw this back on the 24th. Obviously, Jalen Williams was in there. Jalen with the L, no Y, and it was 124-115. That game, Giddey did only play 24, little over 24 minutes. Trey Mann got about 15 minutes there. But Jalen Williams did play 28 minutes. So there's 28 more minutes to go around here. I do think Trey Mann picks up a decent amount of those minutes. I think Lindy Waters is going to get a decent chunk. He only played 5 minutes in that game. I saw someone talking in chat. He is a pretty good fantasy point per minute producer. I'm very scared with Josh Giddey here. I just see him. Every optimized team that I'm running right now plays 4 OKC guys. It's Jalen Williams at center, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and Josh Giddey. So if you play only 2 of those 4, you're automatically different right away. Josh Giddey's probably going to be the highest owned player on the slate, I would say, or close to it. But it's tough because if this game, even if he doesn't get his last rotation in this game, even though the matchup is tough, you have to think he's going to pay off that price tag at just 7,600. The big question is if he only gets 25 minutes, it's going to be tough because that's not just his last rotation he's missing. So I don't know yet on Josh Giddey. I'm going to wait to see what JSU and some of the other guys on Up the Lock say about him. But I am really contemplating fading Josh Giddey right now. Matchup is brutal. I think they get destroyed. He just played a ton of minutes last night. And OKC is trying to lose, right? They don't want to win games. So why would they run him out there for 30 plus minutes again on a back-to-back in Phoenix where I don't think they stand a chance in this game. Aaron Wiggins, he's fine, but like DC said, he's mainly a shooter. But he is 3,500. Doesn't take a ton for him to pay off. Isaiah Joe is going to play a pile of minutes. So I don't mind him just because the minutes are going to be there for him, especially if they cut Giddey's minutes. Jalen Williams, I don't know if I get to Jalen Williams. He's at the center only spot, which is we already talked about. I like Jokic a lot, and some of these other centers. He's 3,700. They do have other big guys like DC mentioned, so I do think he's a little bit volatile there. I mean, they got this Osman Dieng guy that's going to slot in too and play big minutes. So not a ton of interest in Jalen Williams. And like I said, he's slamming on every one of my teams, no matter how I run the settings with my projections here in SaberSim. On the Phoenix side, I do think either Devin Booker or Kevin Durant, both one or the other, has a big game here. They're literally playing no one. Lou Dort obviously is a pretty solid defender, but he can't guard them both. And Durant's minutes are finally, looks like the minutes cap is finally lifted. What he played like 36 or 38 minutes last game. So I don't mind that. And I'd probably, for the $300, I'd probably just go Kevin Durant over Devin Booker. But Booker does have a very good matchup here. So I don't mind either of those guys. But yeah, for OKC, I might contemplate just playing 2, possibly 3. I don't think I'm going to play 4 just because that's what everyone else is going to do. Mangone talks about it a lot. It'll be in his 3 max content, I'm sure, on how you can play them, but differentiate. And it seems like the chalk build far and away is playing at least 4 of these guys. So.
Yeah, Michael Taylor does bring up a good point in chat. OKC doesn't play until Saturday. Thing is, they just still don't want to win. So, like, that's a good point, no doubt about it. I still wouldn't be shocked to see Giddey play 25 minutes. If I had to rank my 3 favorites, I'd probably go Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and is Osman Dieng guy. 19, 20 minutes the past 3 games. It's probably my 3 favorite. Dieng's not really showing much ownership, but they all have risks. Like, I'd be lying to you. And all 3 of them can snowflake. I wouldn't be surprised at all at the end of the day, but those would be my 3 favorite. DC, give me your 3, 4 favorite. And how many do you see yourself playing? Do you see yourself getting a 4, 2? What do you see?
I'm definitely not playing 4. I might make 2 builds. One that kind of goes with the OKC starting types, like a Giddey, Dort, Jalen Williams, or maybe Isaiah Joe in there. And then another build that just goes the opposite and thinks, the minutes get pulled, they get blown out, whatever. And in that case, I think it's kind of interesting to go with, I don't know, Trey Mann and Lindy Waters, right? Take 2 3K guys and hope they get 25 minutes each, get you 20 fantasy points. They'll be a little bit lower owned. You could throw Dieng in there for 3,200. I actually think that's kind of my preferred way to go, is to just go the cheap guys for OKC. I just don't feel good about the starters in this game. That could look foolish 8 minutes into the game if OKC starts off well, but hey, we're trying to get to the top of tournaments, and yeah, I'll trust my gut a little bit on this one and hope that the OKC starters don't get there in the end.
Yeah, I mean, people are talking. Michael's like, Giddey's going to play 40 minutes, all that stuff. The thing is, it's a chalk Giddey. It's not like a contrarian Giddey. Like, you're eating chalk, hoping that he does get those type of minutes. But yeah, I got no complaints about that. Someone in chat, Michael Knack, can campaign dart in case of a blowout. I would always say no, but man, on this slate with how bad value is, if you're not playing OKC, you're playing only 1 or 2. I mean, what if KCP's chalkier, Caruso's chalkier? Like, what's the difference between campaign and them? If he gets an extra 5, 6, 7 minutes, yeah, I mean, on this slate, I think you could do that. You'll get him at 1% own. If it does blow out, yeah, I mean, he has upsides, and he's not a DNP. Even if the game does stay close, he'll still get his 15, 18 minutes. So you have a hunch on that, go for it, is what I say. Usually I would definitely not say that on a 7-game slate, but it's definitely a unique 7-game slate. And as Nadefy said, he's going to be tuning in to the Up to Lock show, see what JSU and the guys have to say. JSU a couple nights ago, 150,000, 3 seats. So definitely in a good night to tune into that show. Use promo code DC15. It'll get you 15% off. One game left on the slate. We have 223 likes, 620 watching. Let's get 275 likes for this last game. Want to get to the plays of the day. 275 should be very easy to get. So that's the number I'm going to set. Last game of the night, Toronto Raptors, Los Angeles Clippers, 230 total. Clippers are favored by 2.5. For Toronto, Will Barton's questionable. Does not mean much. As far as the Clippers, Norman Powell is out. Two relatively healthy teams again. The late night hammer an hour after all the other games. Not really seeing too much ownership in this one. Fred VanVleet, Siakam, Kawhi, PG, Jakob Poeltl. He's been very good. I think he's my favorite in this one. Absolutely smashed for JSU. Nate's I'll throw it to you first. What do you like?
Yeah, I don't have a ton of interest here, but I do think Fred VanVleet is pretty interesting in this game. He's priced right there at 8,400. I don't like Siakam much with the addition of Poeltl. I think that's eaten into his upside quite a bit. But I don't see many people, if anyone, going to Fred VanVleet here in the late night hammer. And I mean, I think he could cook these Clippers. It's a pretty good matchup for him, and the upside that he has. So a nice little contrarian guy there. As far as the Clippers, I mean, I can't play Russell Westbrook at 7,200 with Kawhi and Paul George in there. So not a ton of interest there. And then, I mean, Jakob Poeltl, it's hard to ignore what he's been doing. His price is climbing though. He's 6,600. I don't see him getting. I have him projected right around 29 minutes. So is a slight worry there, but he's a high fantasy point per minute producer there. And he could get there. He's playing well. But yeah, I mean, Fred VanVleet for me is my main interest in this game. Secondary pieces, you can go to a guy like Poeltl. You can always play a low-owned Kawhi or Paul George as spends. I just don't like it. But that's one way you can get different, right? Especially if you're playing four of these OKC guys. I mean, pretty much every team is going for OKC guys and Jason Tatum. So if you just play any other studs, that's one way to differentiate your builds. And you can always throw a guy like Kawhi Leonard or Paul George in there. They always have upside. So overall, not the best game, even though it is the late night game here. But Fred VanVleet's my main interest for sure.
Makes sense. 22 more likes. Help the people out by the time DC's done talking. Hopefully we got 275 for you. DC people are talking about Kawhi revenge game, if that even matters anymore. Guys like Russell Westbrook, Fred VanVleet. I mean, it's kind of especially Westbrook, the pivot to Josh Giddey right in that same range. Maybe pay a little more for Fred VanVleet. I definitely like him. Jakob Poeltl's been good. I'm not seeing much ownership in this game. How many's too many? Who are your favorites?
Yeah, we better get those like buttons going because I don't have a whole ton to say about this one. Again, these are all fine plays, right? Like I think I would go Kawhi over Paul George if I'm trying to get contrarian at the small forward spot. I have no problem with Poeltl. Probably with you guys, kind of my favorite play in this game. He's just been so good recently. Shown more upside than maybe we thought he had since moving to Toronto. And then, yeah, I mean, VanVleet gets kind of that Russell Westbrook defense. He should be able to have a big game. They'll probably need him to in this one. So he would probably be my second favorite on Toronto, but not paying the 7,200 for Westbrook with George and Kawhi there. And this Clippers team, man, what a disappointment that they've been. I don't think the emotionless Kawhi Leonard his blood is boiling, waiting to get revenge for the championship season he was a part of for Toronto. So no bump for me on that one.
Yeah, I mean they played on the team. We always say revenge, but yeah, I do not think he has anything against Toronto for him carrying the team to the ship. So Let's see what the likes. 274 likes. I'm getting you plays a day. I know what you're going to get. One more like for us. Let's see. I'll go to Nate's a 5 first. We don't have people in the chat. Drop a couple names. Obviously, be respectful, be nice. Drop a couple names in chat for Nate's a 5. What you think his play of the day name could be. But right now, give us a winner, Nate's. What's your play of the day tonight?
Yeah, so I talked about him. I'm going to the first game of the night that we talked about. I like a little back and forth kind of with DC there. I see the ownership going to Trae Young. I just don't think Trae Young's been good. He's kind of been not himself the last couple of games here. And I see DeJounte Murray right around 10, 12% ownership here. I think the matchup's elite for him. So I like DeJounte Murray at 7,700 to have a nice game here.
I like it. I'll go to myself with the SO play of the day. I will also stay in the first game. I will go to the other side. We talked a little bit about if you want to go two studs, going to the same game. I like going, Tyler mentioned it, talk me into a little bit. Kristaps Porzingis, 8.9K. Ownership's going to be single digits is what I'm seeing. You can play him at power forward or center. Bigs crush Atlanta. Man, it's going to be a high-paced game, highest total of the night. I think Porzingis has a big game here. So Porzingis, the SO play of the day. DC, mom's basement play of the day. Cap it off for us.
Yeah, we'll go to a stud who needs to do a lot for his team. And I'm seeing our friends at SaberSim have him projected at 2 to 3% ownership. Dame Lillard. I think it'll be higher than that, but, probably not higher than 5 or 6% or so. That's a nice ownership to get on a player who has enormous usage right now with the injuries to that team and on a team that needs to win. So I get the matchup pretty brutal against Boston, but I think Dame's capable of getting hot against anybody. So I will go with Dame Lillard as the mom's basement play today.
I like it. 3 contrarian spends right there for you. Dame, DeJounte Murray, Kristaps Porzingis. The popular one out of everyone in here was the Nasty Nades play of the day. That is a little good kick to it. Nasty Nades play of the day. Spencer Smith, the hockey assist play of the day. Nothing worse than a hockey assist in the NBA. Nice in hockey, though. Nasty Nades. Nasty Nades is a good one. The enforcer, he is the enforcer. Beat Boz. Big Nades. We appreciate all of you hanging out with us. Again, if you're not a member, DC15 gets you 15% off. Head over to the live show chat. You can ask all your questions there for the premium show. Playbook, core plays, cast chart, flow chart, heat maps, all of that is up as always. Golf Locks early tomorrow. Had a great free show yesterday. If you didn't check it out, free on the YouTube channel. I believe you had a premium one today as well, but all the content will be up for that. Showdown playbooks every single day as well. Again, if you haven't wished AP a happy birthday, go wish AP a happy birthday. And shout out to you, Jordan. Hope everything's going well. Happy birthday to you. Have a great night, everybody. Let's see some RPS logos up top. That's going to do it for us, though. For Nadesify, DC, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.